Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. And this is our legend segment, and I'm your host, Bobby Butler. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we got a show for you. Hey, help me welcome former teammate, my guest, Mr. Robert Moore. Robert, welcome to the show, brother.
Oh, well, thank you, brother. Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Well, man, it's a pleasure of mine. I've been waiting to get you on the show so we can chat up a little bit. Robert Moore, born and raised Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh boy, tell them about it now.
Tell them about Shreveport, right?
Man,
Hey,
look here.
Shreveport, Louisiana. Now, there's a lot of good football played in Shreveport now.
Yeah, and I would be remiss if I did not send my condolences out to. We just lost one of our members of our fraternity, Fred Dean, just died from COVID-19
Oh,
this past
man.
week. Yeah, former San Francisco 49er,
Yes.
two-time Super Bowl winner. Yeah, I got the bad news just recently, so I do want to wish some
Wow. Yeah, man.
condolences
I'm
out
glad
to
you
his
did
family.
that. Rest in peace. We pray for his family, strength in this time of their bereavement. 'Cause I tell you, Fred Dean was a heck of a football player. And if you don't know that, you just go back in the 80s when we were playing and how he was pass rushing, putting Barkowski on the ground all the time. He was a heck of a man. Heck of a man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, let's get into it, man. So, Robert Moore, I mean, you're from Shreveport. There's some pods in the country. I call them pods, where football is a little different.
Hmm.
And in the southern states where it's warm, where we can play football all the time, year round, closer to the water. I don't know what it is about the beach. I guess it's the warm as well. We can play football year round, but Shreveport, Louisiana, is a hotbed for football. So let me ask you this question. So how old were you when you started playing football?
I was officially 10 years old when I started playing football, in organized football.
Okay.
We're not playing. We're not counting that pole to pole street football. So
Well, you
we're
got to
talking about we're
count that, man, because let me tell you why you got to count that now. Because let's be honest. Let's just think back for a second. Street football is where we developed our skill. Most of us.
absolutely,
Right?
absolutely,
Now, when we play
absolutely.
organized ball, they had to get us in line and make sure we did right. But we
Yeah.
develop our skill and talent right there in the streets. And when you get
Hmm.
old enough, when you play better in your age group, when you're one of the better players in your age group, you end up having to play up a little bit in the
Hmm.
streets.
Hmm.
And that's where
Absolutely,
you get that little toughness from, right?
absolutely,
Yeah, that's awesome,
absolutely.
man. So you started at 10, all
Hmm.
right? Did you grow up? And this is a question for you, to our viewers. When you were a little kid, 10 years old, playing
Hmm.
football in the street, playing organized football, did
Hmm.
you ever dream of playing pro football at that age?
Absolutely, absolutely. Couldn't wait for Monday Night Football coming on, and we were gonna do those moves the next day. Absolutely. Howard Cosell, we did it, imitated everything that went on the night on Sunday and the night before. Oh, absolutely. So
Absolutely. That's cool.
absolutely.
So I'm assuming, just knowing you personally, when you were a kid, you probably played quarterback, running back, you played all the skill positions,
Hmm.
right? And so
And,
when
and,
you
and offensive line. They put me. I had a coach who put me on the offensive line too. So that was interesting. That was my
well,
seventh grade year.
let me say that all coaches don't know how to deal with talent. Let me just say it like that. All coaches don't know what to do with talent. They don't know.
uh,
Well, that's great, man. So now, all right. So you started playing football, but were you a multiple sport kid growing up?
Absolutely, absolutely. Even in high school,
Mhm.
basketball. Football, basketball, track,
Mhm.
and baseball. So those were the three. Tennis, golf. But see, you got to realize, you say that, my dad did all those sports. So
Right.
he made sure that we did them
That's right.
also.
That's right.
So.
That's right.
Mhm.
So I tell you, that's one of the difference I see in our society today is that kids don't get a chance to experience all that because
Mhm.
every sport is trying to keep kids year round now.
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, when I played football, when football season was over with, football was done. I went to basketball. When basketball
Mhm.
was done, hey, it was so funny, man. Our basketball team in high school, we're not that good, right? We're just a bunch of athletes trying to run and gun. At the end of the year, our track coach would follow us around at the tournaments, waiting on us to lose, Robert. He had our track uniforms in the trunk of his car. And he was hanging our
Absolutely.
uniform that night. Hey, y'all, we
Yeah.
got to meet tomorrow, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
those are the days and so much fun. So let me ask you this question. So you played all those sports. So when did football choose you?
I think football kind of chose me about my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was spending the most time. That's where I was dedicating the most time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when once I started getting into weightlifting,
Right.
and then I started having more success
Mm-hmm.
in football than some of the other sports.
Right.
So I
Right.
think right around my 10th grade years when you know I could tell that's what I was going to lean toward.
Right.
It didn't hurt that they had me sitting on the bench in basketball. So
That's a motivator. That's a motivator.
that kind of got my mind right.
So
And
you were raised in a home with two educators,
mhm, mhm,
and your daddy was a coach.
mhm.
All right. So tell us, this is important. Tell us how the term student athlete was articulated to you as a kid.
Oh, well, that's very simple there, and
Mhm.
I know you and I have talked about it,
Mhm.
but um, even going back to when I started playing football, the teams that we had opportunity to play with, you could start playing in your 5th grade year, but my brother didn't start playing his 7th grade year because his grades were not right. So
Okay.
that's the beauty of being a younger brother. So
Right.
I saw that, and I was like, well, since I want to play, I know my grades have got to be right. So it
Mhm.
was, so it was that was a no nonsense a hardcore rule right there. So absolutely. So the first thing was student in anything that you were gonna do.
Right. Well, that's good, man. That's good. So now, so you had a successful high school career,
Hmm.
now, and you went to college at Northwestern State University.
Hmm. Hmm.
So let me ask you this question: why NSU? Why Northwestern State University?
Well, I like how
Mhm.
you asked the other question earlier. You said, when did football choose you? Well, when did
Uh,
Northwestern choose me?
okay.
And we talk about this all the time.
Mhm.
A lot of during that time, a lot of your recruiting went through your head coach.
That's right.
So
Uh,
so a lot of you never really would see the coaches that were coming in. So
mhm.
with that being said, there were other schools that were definitely interested in me.
Mhm.
But since we had a lot of good athletes on our team, then we shared positions.
Mhm.
I was a starting tailback
Mhm.
and the starting free safety.
Okay.
But as a starting tailback, I wouldn't get 10 carries a game.
Right.
So
Right.
so so on stat wise, sometimes we're not gonna have the stats that other people had. So
Mhm. Mhm.
so that's why that part there was important. But interesting story.
Mhm.
Um, when I was getting recruited, the man came down and on signing day,
Mhm.
and he said, "Well, your friend over here at this high school, I just signed him. He showed me his showed me his scholarship. Your friend right here at your school, I just signed him." He said, your friend that went to this school over here. Here go his signed scholarship. Now I got one left. Will that be for you or will it be for somebody else?"
Hey, that's a great way to put it, boy. No pressure. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
That's a great
no
way to put
pressure, but I can't promise you this thing will be here
it.
tomorrow. I say,
Tomorrow.
well,
Yeah.
boy, I say that. Now, if you look back on it, man, that's just wrong in so many different ways.
Well, you got as a coach now. When you're recruiting, you got to win some kind of way, Doc. Some
Yes,
kind of way,
indeed.
you got to get over the hump. You do what you got to do. You do what you got to do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So now, a lot of people over here don't know much about Northwestern State, but tell
Hmm.
us a little bit about the guys who played before you and some of the guys you played with at Northwestern State.
Well, when I went down to Northwestern, I stayed on my overnight visit because actually I didn't go on a weekend visit. It goes back to that student athlete type thing. I
Mhm.
I, I didn't go on a weekend visit. I went when I had a little break in action. So I
Mhm.
went on a Tuesday night, and so I stayed with one of the members of the 4x100 team, Victor Odie. He was on the football team also. And
Right.
then the next day, I met Mark Duper and
Mhm.
some of those. And I was like, man, these kids around. I mean, they doing stuff on the national stage around
Yes,
here,
sir. Yes,
and
sir.
yeah, and so
Mhm.
a former teammate of mine was down there, and he was a walk on. So,
Mhm.
but and then some of the other players that were there. My daddy had coached. One was the late Joe Delaney.
Okay.
He was there.
Your daddy coach
Uh,
you? I didn't know that.
yeah, he
Wow.
coached. Yeah, he coached Joe Delaney, and
Okay.
so and and like I said, and just in that community, where he coaches, got a lot of great athletes that came out of there. The last one being Dak Prescott.
Right.
Uh,
Wow.
yes,
Wow.
yeah. So that's the type of breeding ground that
Right.
that was out there in
Right.
Houghton, Louisiana.
Right.
But the reason why I guess the last part of it, it was only an hour away from home, and so that made Mama feel good. So if Mama felt good about it, then
Everything
everybody's
all
gonna
right.
be you couldn't go wrong on that part right there. But I knew some people down there,
Mhm.
and at that time it was unconscionable to me for somebody to say, I will pay for your schooling for you to come to school here.
Wait, that's right.
I
That's
I
right.
was like, You will? Well, I'm sold. I'm good. I'm
Oh,
good right there. I
okay.
can come for free.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Oh, good. Well, that's
Hmm.
great, man. Well, Joe Delaney, man, was in my class of '81. And I tell you, man, I've met a lot of people in my life, Robert, but Joe Delaney was a special man.
Oh yeah.
He,
Oh
he, was-
yeah.
he, was, he was a special man. And I can tell you where I was to the very moment when I heard about his passing.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
just even think about how he passed and what he was doing, helping somebody.
Hmm.
Trying to help a kid,
Hmm.
man. Just trying to help a kid. But anyway,
Hmm.
hey, what about Bob Abear? Bob Abear
I was
played
about to say,
for
but now Bobby was a senior when I was there. Bobby
Okay.
was there.
All right.
Bobby was there. He was a senior when I first came there.
Okay.
Bobby was there. Coach Ogeron, Ed Ogeron was there. He was a junior when I first came down there.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, so I mean, we had some people that were down there,
Mhm.
that were doing pretty well. And then my sophomore year, Gary Reasons went to the Giants.
Oh, okay.
Off our defense. Yeah, so we,
Right,
we
right.
so
Man,
we had yeah, we were playing football down there. We
right.
just
Question.
yeah, we just were kind of off the beaten path, but
Mhm.
we had some people that were coming through there. And then I think after my junior year is when another young man came up there from Spring Hill named John Stevens, and
Okay.
John Stevens ended up being the number one pick
Oh,
for
yeah.
New England.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir. Yes,
and you should know his daughter because she's on the professional tennis circuit. So you had some people
sir.
down there. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
you had some people down there. You know.
Well, I tell you, one of the things that I'm always, and to this day, I'm 61 years old. And when I watch Monday Night Football,
Hmm.
when I watch football, I love when they introduce the players and have the players say, I'm Bobby Butler, Florida State University, right? I'm
Hmm.
always amazed at the schools that I don't recognize the names, even to this day.
Absolutely,
Where
absolutely.
so with that message, I like that's a message for me to young people. You don't have to go to a Power Five school to make it.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
don't have to do that. Just go where you're being recruited and just accept that and go and play ball. Because if you're good enough to play on the next level, the NFL will find you.
They will find you.
You
They
know,
they will find you.
Brent Grimes, one of the greatest stories I can say. He went to a Division III school up in Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
Now, Brent Grimes was undersized. A Power Five school would have never recruited him. He's probably about 5'8", probably about 160, 150 pounds. But he was ended up being an all-pro cornerback in the National Football League for many years.
Hmm.
And that story, we've heard that story. We know that story because all of us personally have our own little stories.
Right.
I want kids to understand that. You don't have to go to Ohio State. You don't have to go to Alabama to get to the National Football League. You can go anywhere they're recruiting you, you accept that and go and just make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, and my other thing about it is, the great thing about this sport called football is people are gonna have preconceived notions. They're gonna look at you and make judgments and things of this nature.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day,
There you
you'll notice that some of your better talent, some of your better athletes out there are either undersized,
Mhm.
slower than everybody else,
Mhm.
or somebody passed on them thinking that they were not worthy.
Right.
And and that's what I tell people every year. I say, I want you to just to look at the first round draft picks.
Mhm.
You have more first round draft picks not getting their 5th year option picked up than you have the ones whose option is getting picked up.
That's right.
And they got to choose them out of all the kids that were available, and they get it wrong.
They get it
So
wrong.
don't listen to somebody else's words about you. Don't let them put a ceiling on your capabilities.
And that's so true, man. I remember when my son Bryce was coming out of high school, we were up in Notre Dame on a trip. And one of the assistant coaches there used to be an assistant coach at Georgia when Deion came out of high school,
Mm-hmm.
Deion Sanders. And so when he said he went to see Deion play in Fort Myers. He said, man, I never seen nobody so excited like him play.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but after the game, I was in the locker room and I started watching him undress and I looked at his calf muscles. And he said, I made the statement that there's no way he can play in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. And he said,
Yeah.
did I get that wrong? Oh, absolutely. You can't judge a book by its cover.
Oh no.
So
Oh
kids,
no.
now wherever you get a chance to go and play and just be sure yourself, do what you do, and everything will fall in place for you. I promise you that.
Absolutely.
So Robert, you came out of NSU and you didn't get drafted. You were an undrafted free agent
Mm-hmm.
to the Atlanta Falcons, right?
Mm-hmm.
In 1986.
Mm-hmm.
And you and another great player was an undrafted free agent in the same class, same team, the old Florida State guy. I ain't gonna call his name. And so you were not selected in the first, second, or third round. But when minicamp came around, which folks, if you don't know, minicamp is a little camp that NFL teams host right after the draft, so they can get the newer players with the older players and kind of mesh and have a couple of days of practice. So you were an undrafted free agent,
Mm-hmm.
and you chose to opt out of the minicamp your first year. So why you do that?
Well, again, you acting like I had choices in these matters, but but following when my career had ended at Northwestern, I had to take 24 hours to graduate.
Okay.
And so what I told him, I told him, I asked my dad, I said, well, look, I can take a few hours and and kind of work on, see if I can get a chance to go anywhere. He's like, well, boy, let me tell you what I would do if I was you is I would make sure that I graduated. So I said, okay, well, you're right. It might be at the end of the line.
Mm-hmm.
So no, so when they had the mini camp in April or May, whenever it was, no, I was taking finals.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't come out to visit the Falcons until June.
Okay.
I came out there for like a week,
Mm-hmm.
just worked out a little bit and came on back and then came back a month later. So the only reason why I came on back a month later, because everybody was like, well, he ain't gonna do this, he ain't gonna do it, was number one, because some of them were out there talking that know while when they were working out, what you gonna do? You don't even know why they bring you out here. And then number two, I was trying to get some money for grad school.
Right. Okay.
So but it only took one practice
Mm-hmm.
for me to know there are a lot of people up here that can't play football.
Yes, sir.
Because back in that day, you did all your testing on Sunday, and
Right.
you were in pads on Monday. Wasn't no assimilation, none of that foolishness there. We going to go get it.
We're going to go get it. You got that right. You got that right. Man. So that's cool, man. So one of the things that I love about you and I love about your story is the fact that when you came that short period of time, and then when training camp did start in July, all right, you came in undrafted, and in that short period of time, in week one, you were in the starting lineup as a rookie, starting your first season in the National Football League, undrafted free agent, in a short period of time. And so I say I had to give you kudos for that, because that's a tall order for anybody. If you draft it, that's a tall order for you to get playing time like that right away, Mo.
Well, yeah, but some of that helped was, of course, we had injuries, and Wendell got hurt, and you had a lot of different things, and they ended up trading some players and cutting some players. So a lot of that adds into it. But I think I still always remember the one conversation I had with Dan Henry when we was getting close down
Mm-hmm.
onto the thing, and he asked me, we were playing nickel, and he came over there because he never came over to the defensive side of the ball. He never did. And he came over there, and I was doing, on one knee, just sitting down there.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "How many of those positions can you play out there?" I said, "All 7 of them, coach."
Right.
And he looked at me, and that's the last conversation he and I had.
I love it. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. Well, it's amazing to me, man, because at that time that was my 6th year. Your rookie year. That was my 6th season. And in that short period of time, man, I've seen him come and go. I've seen draft choices. I mean, we had a 3rd round pick that played 1 year. He was gone. We had before you came, guy who was like a 2nd round, another 2nd round pick, no, a 3rd round pick, right after Scott Case, big old fast dude and he was gone, and just like that. They draft and they come and they go, right? And then you came in, fit right in, and it's amazing. It seemed like there was no true learning curve for you when you came in. It's like you knew what to do. You picked up things so easy. And it allowed, because I remember playing with you. I always tell people this about you. Somebody say, "Tell me about Rob Moore." I say, "He's the smartest player I ever played with on defense. Most intelligent player I ever played with." They say, "Why you say that?" I say, "Because he was always where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there." I know I ain't never had to overcompensate for you. I put it this way. My stats in the record books would be a lot higher if you wasn't on the team. Because you were always where you were supposed to be. I remember a game in particular. We were playing the Oilers in Houston in 1987.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm out there backpedaling. And Drew Hill was running a deep curl.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I tell you, I broke on that thing so good, man. I said, "Oh, I got it now." I see the ball in the air, and all of a sudden, they go 2 hands in front of me. Pap! And there you go running. I say, "God, dog, look at that joker right there." So you were always where you were supposed to be, which made playing corner a lot better for me, because not only were I can depend on you being there, and that's saying a lot. In National Football League, when you say guys were not where they're supposed to be. Well, I wasn't used to that until you showed up in 1986.
Well, it does make a lot of difference, and one of the great things about it was because it was a new system, everybody was learning it.
Everybody was. That's right.
So that did help a lot, and that's why I'm glad to see the Falcons have got things right, because that's what I was trying to share with somebody this 2 weeks ago. I was like, I don't care who you are or where you come from. There's no way a man's supposed to be running wide open in the National Football League. It's just no way.
Bruh. Amen. Say that again.
Now, I can understand if you fall down, if you get a double move, you trip, any of that stuff.
That's all from a physical nature.
Yeah. But everybody has an assignment out there, and I'm sure that nobody is supposed to be assigned to run scot-free.
Scot-free. When they draw it up, they don't draw it up like that.
No.
They draw up the score, but they don't draw it up for you to be running scot-free down the field. Well, Mo, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
You started 4 years in the league. I know we had a great time playing together. I even enjoyed the system that we played in on the Marion Campbell. I had to really learn myself. You said we were all learning that first year. I remember Swamp Fox, Coach Marion Campbell. I just, as a corner, y'all, I'm just telling y'all now, I just didn't want to line up 10 yards.
Yeah.
Guys who lined up 10 yards was scared to play football. So I remember when he said corners line up 10 yards, I said to myself, I ain't line up no goddamn on 10 yards. They crazy, they line up 10 yards. So one day we was in a meeting, and I'm up there 7 yards. And Swamp Fox was a great coach. But if he ever cuss you out, boy, it hurt.
Yeah,
boy,
he cut deep.
He cuts you deep. And he told me in that meeting, I'll never forget it, just like it was last night. He said, if you don't line yo, you know how to talk, if you don't line yo, 10 yards, I guarantee you'll be standing right next to me on that sideline. Well, I was going to be standing on the sideline. So when I took it up, man, and when I learned it, man, it was a beautiful thing. Because when you backpedal, we didn't come out backpedaling. We just sat there.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't backpedal through the 90 game. You know, after the third three-step drop the quarterback, then we started backpedaling.
Mm-hmm.
But then the receiver was about 6-7 yards from you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a beautiful thing when I learned how to play it. But I really enjoyed that time with them and how they and Fred Bruner, man, I really enjoy him as a coach.
Well, yeah, because Fred Bruner got Herm Edwards 10 years in, so the system was there. It was there. So at that time you didn't have to pull them over off the interstate like you do now.
That's
Because they running by you right now, boy. You'll catch a cold out there, boy.
Right, exactly. And then you understand it takes a little patience, because I remember Deion's first year. That was it last year, Coach Campbell, and it was hard for them to play that 10 yards off, because Deion just let him take away somebody on the whole side of the field. I mean, those were the kind of abilities that he had, but he wasn't allowed to do that. He had to play that system. And so, but it was good though. So let me ask you this question:
Sure.
What are some of your greatest moments playing pro football in the National Football League?
Well, I mean, the first one was just actually walking into a professional stadium. You take that for granted, and then it was so great that my first game was back in Louisiana and in the Superdome. So that was one of the best feelings in the world, because I've always wanted to get down there from high school for the high school championship. That's where it was played. Didn't make it. So that was one of them. Then playing against some of your idols that you people that you used to, again, watching Monday Night Football, and you out there on the same field with them right now, you'd be like, wow, I'm out here guarding such and such.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And then of course, the 3 by the Bay, those 3 interceptions out there, even though they took one of them away from me, that's all right. But that's exciting. And then, like my daughter told me the other day, she's like, "You ain't do nothing. You ain't score number 2 touchdown." I say, "But I'm on the other side of the ball, though, baby."
Thank you. That's a little hard.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard. It's not coming to me every play. So, but yeah, that, and like I said, some great teammates, great great memories, just great people. In that environment overall, both in the game and outside of the game. And I know we also sending condolences to the Kelly family, because we lost Paul Kelly just
I was to that film on Saturday.
Yeah. So that's what I'll say. It was just a lot of good people at that time, and it wasn't that much of a difference between you and the fans at that time. It really was not. They could walk over to talk to you, and and it was not that big a deal.
Right, exactly. Yeah, man, I tell you, the friendships, man. Yeah, like me and you and Buddy, and some of the guys been doing football camps, with kids and pros, with Dominion Sports, as we evolved from Dominion Sports to kids and pros. For 20 years, man. We've been at it, grinding, laughing. It's like we're still in the locker room, man, having a good time.
Yeah.
I really missed that this summer, man. Of course, with the pandemic, we couldn't do anything, but man, I miss you and Buddy and the whole game, man. Just out there hanging and just having a good time, traveling around the country. We even as far out as Bozeman, Montana, man. We out there with Horse Cartwright and Little Joe used to ride there.
Yeah, all them places. And then the interesting thing about all of that is, as bad as it was, even when David Kerr beat the Seminoles, the Tar Heels still can't beat them.
Hey, thank you. Hey, the Lord was good to me this weekend, Doc. He said, "I'll never leave you nor forsake you." Yes, sir. But man, who ever thought that would happen? But hey, and that's the beauty of playing sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you think about when we played, man. It was almost like you can count it. If we beat the 49ers, they were going to win the Super Bowl that year. And we beat them quite a few times. But if we beat them, it's like they're going to win us. And so it's like that. And so hopefully that means something to Tallahassee. Maybe we may stir up a little something, get a little better.
Y'all might stir something up down there.
I'm hoping on it. We got Palm Beach County playing quarterback now. He's doing pretty good. So I'm happy about that. Happy about
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, that is a great thing about it, though. But
that.
yeah, and you know, and like we talking about, this is during this pandemic year, you
Mhm.
know, you're not taking a life for granted. You know, and you can appreciate the things that you are able to do, and what football brings to it, because it's one of the few institutions that brings generations together.
It
You
does.
know,
Mhm.
grandparents and parents and
Yeah.
children, and
Mhm.
you know, we all can come together, you know, and be excited about something right there. And you know, even though they still on Twitter and Instagram and all the rest of them, they might put it down on, you know, to
Right.
watch a little bit of that or go to a game.
Exactly. Exactly. Well,
Hmm.
look, man. After your football career, you went in business, and
Hmm.
you know, and matter of fact, we started in the same business back in 19. I know I started in '94, and you still chunking at it. You're a certified financial planner amongst everything else in the business, and
Hmm.
doing quite well, and so that's the road you went down. And then tell us about your family. Tell us about them children you got at the house. Tell me a little bit about your children.
Well, you know, that's the thing about them. They're
Oh,
not
it's a lovely wife first now. No,
yeah, they 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 not children. So yeah, and I'm not the smartest one in my house. Matter of fact, I don't come in second or third, because my wife is a principal. So
yes.
she's a principal in DeKalb County,
Mhm.
and she's been in education almost 30 years now. Almost 30 years.
All
So
right.
yeah. And
That's
then my oldest will be 18 on Sunday. So so she's told me it's time for an
oh
adjustment
Lord.
on that. And
Oh
and then
Lord.
and then my youngest is a freshman in high school. So he, you know, he's coming into his
You
own. It's hard to hear all that bass coming out of his voice. So
oh Lord, Lord,
eh,
Lord, Lord. Here we
yeah.
go. Here we go.
So I know you an empty nest over there. All yours are grown, but yeah, man, time is passing by. Time is
Yeah,
passing by.
well,
Time
that's
is
good,
passing.
man. Well, look, man, thanks so much for being on the show, man. We love having you, and we'll have you come back again. You know, we'll bring you and some of the guys. We come on as a thing and do some other things that we can share and talk about. So,
Absolutely.
well, thanks, Mo. Well, guys,
Oh,
that's our show today. Thank you for joining us. This is 100 Yards of Football. If you liked the video, like it, share it, comment. We look forward to seeing you next week. I'm your host, Bobby Butler, and we did it this past week.